Okay. Okay. Good evening. We are back again tonight. Tonight we have TJ Moonan, we have Kelsey Green, Bill, Edgar, and of course myself. TJ has been advocating, you know, for children to have a lot of time with their parents, the biological parents, of course. He's been a family law advocate for quite a number of years now. He himself is an alienated parent. For many years, he has not been able to see his daughter. Something that he still desire. That at some point in his life, he'll have contact with her. There's something that no parents need to go through. Um, I always, believe and I always advocate for the fact that it is in the best interest of children to have both of their parents actively involved in their lives. No parent should be kicked out. Every parent matters, and they should be able to have a say in the life of their own biological children. It's not up to somebody to decide, but it's both of the parents' rights to have access to their children. Also, Kelsey, thanks for joining us. I look up to Kelsey a lot when it comes to parental alienation because he's studying that, and I'm looking forward to see a lot of the materials that he's writing. I know he's got some publications coming up that I'm excited to lay hands on to read. Kelsey, thank you so much. He's also an alienated parent as well, and that's why he's doing what we're doing. Pretty much all of us on the show tonight, we've all gone through it. We've experienced it. I look up to Bill as well a lot. Bill has been around, doing the same thing, fighting for his kids. So we all have, a common story. Something common that holds us all together for us to, advocate, for our children to be able to see their parents. No matter as long as their parents are normal, not mentally, ill, they should be able to have access to both parents. Unfortunately, that's not the case, right? We see one parent or the other fighting, putting up a fight through the courts, just to be able to be in the life of a child. It's just not right. It's morally wrong, and it's not right. Uh, but before we move on to TJ, I'm just gonna ask Bill and Kelsey if there's anything you want to say before we bring TJ on.
Well, Ben, I'd just like to say thank you for having me back again. It's always a pleasure to join you. I always learn more speaking with you and your guests on your show. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I hope that I can add some of my 2 cents into for other people who are listening.
All right. Thank you, Kelsey.
And I've been following some of the posts of Mr. Moonan for a number of years in the support groups he's taken part in. And he's very supportive of everyone going through this. He tries to be supportive with his posts and help people within the support group. And he's done a great job of trying to help people. So this is what we need, is more people like Mr. Moonan that has gone through this, has survived it, and has learned and are trying to pass on what they've learned about this process so others can get through it. So, Mr. Moonan, thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate it, and hope to learn more about your complete situation tonight and everything you're trying to do.
Thank you.
And he's a man of faith. I follow a lot of his postings as well. And a lot of time I get very encouraged, reading some of the materials that he posts on his page, and I really appreciate what you're doing. And we need people like you, Kelsey and Bill, for us to sort of have a common voice for our children. Thank you so much for what you do. So TJ, how did you get involved in this movement? I know you had your own personal experience, but share with us tonight how it all started and where you are now in the
Okay.
fight to see your daughter?
Absolutely. It's been a long battle now. It's actually in October it'll be 25 years. I've been since the last time I really had a relationship with my daughter. She was 7 years old, and our visits were always supervised. I won't get into all the details. We'll be here until November, but uh, our visits were always supervised, and the whole time my ex-wife tried to get some kind of uh, molestation type of inappropriate behavior um, accusations against me, and she finally in 1998 I was having my visits at a visitation center in Salem, New Hampshire, right at the police station, and I had to get there 10 minutes earlier than my daughter, and I had to wait 10 minutes after she left um, before I could leave. And she would come in at at her appointed time, and I would give her a hug and tell her I love her. And the supervisor said to me, um, "Don't initiate physical contact. Let your daughter do that." And I said, in not so colorful words, in more colorful words, um, "I don't like what you're saying. I'm paying you $60 to see my daughter for 1 hour a week. I'm going to hug her and tell her I love her." The supervisor put in the notes inappropriate physical contact, which then set off a series of investigations that took a total of 5 years. Well, it was about 4.5 actually, and I couldn't contact my daughter in any way. And I know that whole time, my ex-wife and her mother were asking my daughter, did he touch you there? Did he touch you there? And feeding her brain with inappropriate thoughts. And um, I did a lot of work. It was at this time that I contacted Dr. Craig Childress because I had heard about him. I don't even know where, but he sent me some information on parental alienation syndrome, which I didn't have a clue what that meant. And but I found out about it, and unfortunately, it was before the internet exploded and all these sites were available. So I didn't have the system that's there now. But I worked hard. I figured out as much as I could about the law. I even as a layman, I couldn't become a lawyer in that time. But I tried to do something to make it let my daughter know that I'm thinking about her and I love her. So I wrote and directed a play, a theatrical production that a local theater company put on, and I'm sorry, and uh, unfortunately she didn't come to that, and I didn't think she would because I knew her mother was doing everything she could to get me out of her life. Um, I had cheated on my wife, and she wanted to make sure that I wouldn't hurt our daughter the way I hurt her. So she made up these allegations to make sure I wasn't going to be a part of our daughter's life. That's more on that later. But after 4.5 years, she agreed to a visit. And I saw her, and it was the first time I'd seen her, and she was like so much bigger. She, 11 years old, and she was just. I mean, she was beautiful. She was my daughter. She was just. She had just a beautiful beauty about her. It was tough because she had a Girl Scout uniform on, and had pictures that she showed me of her friends and stuff. And unfortunately, the night before I actually had this first visit in 5 years, um, my sister out in Illinois called me and told me that my mother went into the hospital and wouldn't be coming home. So I went into the visit having that in the back of my head. After the visit, I flew out to Illinois and spent her last days with her. But when I got back, I, I I was calling her as much as possible, and uh, what ended up happening was my ex-wife's lawyer called me and told me that she didn't want to have a relationship with me anymore, and so we would be making arrangements for the the end of the relationship, but I'm still paying child support. So God, it was terrible. What I did was I went to the law library, and I mean literally I was at the law library as much as I was at work, 40 hours a week, and I found a case in, I believe it was Mississippi, I don't remember, that was so long ago, where a parent had gotten part of the child support taken out of away from the parent, the custodial parent, and put into a trust fund for their child. So I put that into the all of the final recommendations, and it was a nightmare. It was very difficult. I spent the next 6 years um, trying to figure out what to do with life, and I didn't have anywhere to turn. It was 2003. And I did some stupid things and made some mistakes. And in 2009, she turned 18, and I got in touch with her. I went to her. What I did was I went to her high school graduation, and I have a ring that my mother gave me to give to her. It's my mother's birthstone and my daughter's birthstone, and I still have it. And she's going to get it. Excuse me. I've thought about that in a long time, geez. But she was. I went to her graduation. Her name was in the program, but I couldn't find her. She wasn't there, and they called her. They were calling the names, and I was watching them go down the list, and they skipped right over her name. I'm not really sure. I wasn't sure what happened. So I've been following her. I believe it was MySpace back then, but then ended up going over to Facebook, and I found her there. And I asked her about it. I sent her a message, and she wrote back and was angry and yell and trying to express to me her anger. And we started actually having a conversation through Messenger. And I mean, it would get to the point where she was ready to come and have lunch with me and talk about it, and I was just, through the roof. There was nothing more wonderful in my life at that time. The next day, she sent me a message that said, "I can't do this. You equals bad. You're a pedo and all this stuff." And it just blew me away. I didn't know what to do. I figured what happened when she talked to her mother at that point, and her mother told her how bad I am and not to do it. And I've been trying now. It's been 13 years since then, and I've been trying to get back to her. But every time I get in touch with her, she gets a restraining order on me, or she's living in New York now, and I found her on social media, and I tried to send her a message there, and she just shut her site down. So I've been trying over the last couple of years to locate her, and I found her. Actually, a good friend of mine, Austin, I believe it's Austin Brock, has found her for me a couple of times. He's like my own private detective. I love the man. But I just found her this week. Her birthday was Wednesday, and Tuesday night he got me her address. So I've sent her a card, and I'm hoping that when she gets it and sees that it's from me, she doesn't just throw it out. But I'm not going to stop trying. It's not something I can do. This poor child. My ex-wife wanted me not to hurt her, but my ex-wife has done so much more damage to her. She denied my daughter a relationship with a parent who wants to just love her and be her father. And I think about all the times that I missed, and I try not to, because it's overwhelming what I missed. I mean, it's been 25. I've pretty much missed my daughter's life, and it's hard. It's really hard. So what I've been doing probably for the last 10 years or so is getting into advocacy. I've worked with a lot of great people over the years, and done some things that are have been productive. I do a TV show here in Derry. It's community access TV, and it's called Love Works. And I truly believe that that's I want that on my gravestone. Love Works, and that was going great. And we're making all kinds of movements. When my daughter found out I was going to be doing the TV show, she told me not to mention her or have her on there in any way. And I talked about her all the time, and I had a picture of her up on the set. And she didn't do anything about it. And she told me that if she did that, she was going to call me out on national TV. So I got in touch with a producer at the Dr. Phil show, and did all the interviews and sent them the video of what I was trying to do, and they were ready to go. I was ready to go on, but my daughter wouldn't go with. So I'm figuring what happened was she realized that I'm not playing around. I'm serious, and I think she's just afraid to hear the truth, But it's 6 years later and it still hasn't happened. But in 2017, I went to Washington D.C. and with a group of warriors, and we marched on the Senate and the White House and all over Washington. It was really an awesome experience, and it taught me a lot. The people that were there who impacted my life, and it kept me going. And I when my first co-host left the show, the show was originally called Practicing Love, and we changed it to Love Works after he left, and it became, unfortunately, it was 2018, and the midterm elections were going on, and I started having candidates on the show to, boost their campaigns, and it turned into more of a legislative educational show, which, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's not what I had the intention of the show for, and I wasn't. It was almost, I felt like I was being taken advantage by the people that I had on the show, but here and there. I had in 2020, I had a stroke, and it pretty much stopped everything in life. And it's been now 3 years, and I've worked hard, and I'm not going to get much better physically than I am now. I'm hoping to maintain a little bit of independence anyways, but I'm at the point now where it's time to actually do stuff. So what I've been doing, actually, since I had the stroke, since I got home from the hospital, is working with non-custodial parents, trying to help them, to show them what's going to be happening in their process. Non-custodial parents can't afford a lawyer, so they're on their own. So I'm kind of like I guess I'm a guardian angel, trying to help them through the process and how to fill out the paperwork and what paperwork to fill out. I mean, it's a nightmare for anyone going into family court. The first time I went in, I was sure that I was going to be, I'd probably get custody of my daughter, and even though I had just gotten out of a mental hospital because I felt so guilty about cheating on my ex-wife that I had to get off the streets. I didn't want to do it anymore. But I was sure I would be fine. But I walked out with the tail between the legs, supervised visits, and the amount of money I was paying was just through the roof. And looking back now, I don't regret the child support. I have no problem that I had to pay it, and I know what it should have been used for. However, I don't know what it was used for. Regardless, I know part of it went into a fund that she got when she was 18, and I'm sure her mother didn't tell it was from Dad. But I'm just glad she got it, and someday she'll know. I'm hoping that I will be able to be the one who tells her. I'm getting closer to the point where I believe that she won't know anything about me until I die and she starts to look for me. I believe that once it's over and I get to heaven and she's there, we're going to be happy forever. So, this is a short ride, 32 years so far. But my focus, I'm trying to focus more on the advocacy work, helping other parents trying to reunite with their family. And I've seen quite a few over the years. But it's hard this time of year. Her birthday was Wednesday, and March was March 2003 was when I had my last court-ordered visit with her, and my mother died. So it was, March and April are difficult months. May is kind of a holdover until June when my birthday and Father's Day come up. But I'm learning more each year how to deal with it. Unfortunately, I have to. The one thing that's gotten me through all of this is, for some reason, I had a lot of bad years when, from the time she was 12 to 18, drugs and alcohol, and I felt I just felt worthless. Like I didn't know what to do, and I couldn't do anything. So, but the whole time, when I opened my eyes, the end, when she turned 18, I opened my eyes and I saw that God was there. He was there, And in 2020, when I had my stroke, one night out of the blue, the nurse comes into my room and says, "Did your daughter come in here?" And I looked at her like she had two heads. I said, "I haven't seen my daughter in 17 years." And a couple of minutes later, my daughter walked into the room, and I was just blown away. And she asked me two questions. I'm in a hospital bed. I've been for 2 weeks because I had a stroke and I can hardly move. And she asked me if I was still smoking cigarettes, which at the time I was. I haven't had one since. But and if I was still drinking. And I said, that's why I'm here. And she just shook her head and walked out. And she just wanted to make sure that I was still on the path I was on that was going to kill me. And what I realized not too long afterwards was that God sent her to me to let me know that He's taking care of her. And that's, my heart just opened up at that point, and I'm not worried anymore. I know she's okay. I pray to God every day that she's okay. I don't really know that unless I find her every now and then, like Austin has for me. But it's been a difficult run. Trying the best I can to get as much positivity out of it. I try to. You talk about my posts and stuff. I do that because it makes me feel when I hear someone say back to me anything like you guys have said tonight. I mean, that means God's really working through me, and I'm not. Believe me, I'm not. I'm just I'm a sinner through and through. But He's put something in me that I certainly don't deserve. But man, am I grateful. So, 25 years without a relationship with my daughter, and I'm grateful. It's there's miracles. There are a lot of miracles, and I really feel like I am one. And I've been really excited about being here tonight because I'm looking forward to an amazing discussion. And you guys I've been following you guys too. We've had very little interaction, some more than others, but I'm very excited to be able to actually, like you said, Kelsey, virtually meet you guys, and I'm looking forward to a great discussion here. So I've talked long enough. You guys can go ahead.
TJ, one thing I have to say, before I let Kelsey and Mike speak is, hearing you speak, all I can say is that You're a good man and a good father. You know, a good father never gives up on his kids,
Mm-mm.
and I see a demonstration of that in you. Yeah, you know, for many years, you have not given up on your daughter, despite the ups and downs. You still have that same love for her, and you are always praying for her. I mean, that's the most beautiful thing that a dad can say. That I'm always keeping my child in my prayer. I mean, it's just beautiful. Thank you for you know, thank you for being a dad. Right? I truly appreciate you. Kelsey, Bill,
Go ahead, Kelsey, if you'd like
Oh,
anything.
well, TJ, my heart goes out for you and for your daughter, because what you've just described is beyond painful. I'm I'm amazed by your faith, um, because I can understand a small part of this, and but there's a lot that I can't understand what you've gone through. When I think about the kids that go through this, they're in a position where they're under tremendous pressure as a young child. They're sometimes they're even forced to say things that they know are not true, and that can build a lot of like shame or a lot of feelings, mixed up feelings in them that they carry with them forever.
Right.
And Amy Baker's done a lot of research about reconnecting and what does it take to reconnect. And your daughter coming into that the hospital room. I mean, it was it's probably interesting because she's coming in to check on you and to see that you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also sounds like there's maybe some borrowed scenarios or some that are in there saying, are you smoking? Are you drinking? Well, that means you're a bad person, and that's likely or possibly what she's been told.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these kids, like, they're just trying to survive day to day, just try to make it through. And unfortunately, sometimes they carry that stuff with them. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just trying to survive in an extreme situation. And I hope TJ, for you and for your daughter as well, because she really deserves to know what an incredible person you are. I hope that someday she can let go of some of the stuff that she's carrying, no doubt from her past, and look for ways to look for the future and try to reconnect and try to see, what can happen. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
because when I reached out to you a while ago, you were more than helpful, and I could see what a big heart you have.
Thank you, Kelsey. Yeah, I appreciate it. I forgot to mention one of the main reasons I wanted to come on tonight. It's Parental Alienation Month, and we need to be. I love this show because we're expressing what parental alienation is and how it affects you. And on April 25th, Parental Alienation Awareness Day, Marianne Petrie and I have set up a podcast that we're going to be doing on her show, Slam the Gavel, and it's going to be six of us. We're going to have like a roundtable discussion on PA, and we have Dean Tong, who will give us the legal perspective, Mark Ludwig, who will give us the legislative perspective, Joe Gormley, a beautiful man, will give us the Christian perspective as well as the father's perspective. And Lisa Goodpaster is an adult who is an alienated child. So she'll give her perspective as well as me with my experience, and Marianne is also an alienated mother. So we're gonna have all that. Plus, I'm still trying to get in touch with Dr. Childress and people from different countries around the world to try to get a feel for what that's like. And this is going to be on April 25th. What we're going to do is we're taking questions from people who are going through or have gone through the family law process. And these are the questions we're going to be discussing and getting the different perspectives from. So I'm hoping everyone will tune into that. It's going to be fantastic, and I think it'll be it will move some. I'm hoping, we're moving mountains, but we're really, really slow. And like I said, when I got involved, there was nothing like anything that's going on now, as far as the support systems and the groups that are available to help. It's remarkable, and I'm seeing almost on a daily basis, families reuniting, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And we passed a law here in New Hampshire that there's going to be an oversight committee on family law now, and the things are starting to move in an extremely positive. People are starting to see what's really going on here, And I tell everybody, if you want to know what the problem is, follow the money. All right, and because that's where you're going to find it. Family law pays incentives for the courts to collect child support. They pay incentives for the agencies to remove children from their parents, but there's no incentives for non-custodial parents to have visitation. That says it all right there. They're destroying families to make money. I think the most important best interest of the child is to have a relationship with both parents. And it just doesn't make any sense. And I don't understand why the public doesn't see it. That's why we really need to start informing the uninformed, And I love what you guys are doing. This show is fantastic. I've been watching a few episodes, and I can't thank you enough, really. So,
Thank you. Thank you. TJ, all of us have been affected by it. So, our goal is to create awareness, right? The more awareness we're able to create, the better off we are in getting the message across.
TJ, I'd like to talk about one of the things that you pointed out there about your daughter and how you said that she doesn't want to acknowledge the truth about you or who you are. And this is a very common situation. And Kelsey kind of touched on it on borrowed scenarios and being manipulated and told different things. If a child is being manipulated by a person in a position of authority, such as a parent, teacher, police officer, doctor, they're being manipulated and coerced by a person that they have trust in. So trying to overcome that obstacle right there of recognizing that things you're being told are a lie and you're being lied to is very difficult for many children to overcome. And if they don't overcome it at a young age, then they grow up and this belief or thought process will still be there, which becomes an unresolved childhood trauma. And it's not that these traumas cannot be overcome as an adult. Ryan Thomas, he reunited with his father, I think at the age of 26 or 28. And I'm sure you know who Ryan Thomas is. He's been around in the world of alienation for a number of years. And I love listening to him and the information and perspectives he has on reuniting with parents. It's great. Another thing that I've seen throughout my years of this process is even when children are being alienated by their parents, they don't always recognize it because they're still in that subservient role to the parent and being manipulated and coerced throughout their life. And one of the advocates now that is out there for parental alienation was informed that they were being alienated by their mother by another relative before they were able to break free from the hold of the mother and come out, find their father, have a relationship with their father, and go on and start a normal life, and try to be an advocate for parental alienation and recovery from the process of alienation. So I don't want you to lose hope. There's still always hope that your daughter may learn. But again, when people that are being abused and are in this situation, then it's very difficult for them to look at people they trust and they believe in and have to acknowledge that they've been lied to. and possibly manipulated and coerced by these people. So it's a lot easier to keep your head in the sand and ignore that and believe what you've been told is the truth, and not have to deal with the trauma of coming to this realization and trying to cope with that stress. It's not easy. And again, if people have been traumatized, once they start a pattern of fight or flight, they will stick to one or the other. And most people have the flight response to this. And because of that, that response will be continued throughout their life, and it's very difficult to overcome. So,
yeah, the longer you believe a lie, the more it becomes the truth. And it's been pretty much her whole life. She's been hearing that, I'm a bad, I got accused of inappropriate physical contact. That was never defined. It was never proven in any way. I had to prove that it didn't happen, and I have the proof. I got forensic sexual testing done that says the bottom line. In this reporter's opinion, Mr. Moonan is not a pedophile. There was all kinds of tests involved with that. I've got a letter from the supervisor who was supervising our visits during the time my ex-wife said I was molesting her. And, I have the letter, I put it up on my post in the past, and I have it here if anyone wants to see it. I have no problem showing any proof that I have that says nothing happened. I've never seen any kind of proof that something did happen.
That's all
Mr.
too
Moonan,
common.
yeah, go ahead, Kelsey. This is the same pattern and process over and over again. Kelsey, I'll let you go on about this because we both deal with this every day.
It's the same pattern. It happens all the time. An allegation is made by somebody, and sometimes it's not even a family member. Sometimes it's somebody else. Child protection workers will do it.
Right.
And then a parent will pick up on it and go, hey, this works, so I'm going to keep doing it. Like they learn.
Right.
And
well,
it's not.
I think with the in this case, even her teachers wouldn't tell me anything. I had an order written that I could write her letters while the investigation was going on. I could write her letters, and she would take them to her therapist and discuss them with her. And I contacted her therapist, and her therapist wouldn't talk to me. I contacted her school, and I told them that my daughter feels like she's been molested, and I ain't doing it. So I wanted to have her new husband checked out, my ex-wife's new husband checked out. They wouldn't even think about it. It was placed in everybody's mind that I was molesting my daughter. So there was never going to be a chance for me to get through that, and I didn't know it. I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know I couldn't get a lawyer if I couldn't afford one. I'd seen enough episodes of Law and Order to know that you get a lawyer if you can't afford one. But no, and I got convicted twice on child support. I did community service, and then I lost my license. If I had one more, I would have gone to jail. I didn't know. I didn't get a jury trial. There was nothing fair. There's no due process whatsoever in family courts from my experience.
No, and in North America, it happens all too often that one allegation is made, then you lose all your rights. They're just gone.
Mm-hmm.
All those things that are enshrined in our constitutions and our laws they disappear on one allegation,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody actually looks into the allegations to understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
They put all
How
that
do you
they just
prove a negative?
Yeah. Well, you can't.
No.
Bias and you can't.
I actually did, but it took me 5 years and without any chance of seeing my daughter. That's when the whole thing fell apart. But I learned a lot about that from Dean Tom. He has a website, abuse-excuse.com, and it's all about false allegations. And he is the expert on it, and I'm looking forward to seeing him on the 25th. So if you need information about false allegations, he's your man for sure. So definitely check that out.
So TJ, quick question. This person that was supervising you and your daughter, who wrote this false allegation, was
Yeah.
there any charges laid on her for? I mean, you've been proven not to have done anything to your daughter. It's
No.
on record.
Right.
Did this person walk away just like that, or I mean, was penalized for?
There was no penalty. By the time I figured out I could probably do something about it, someone told me that in Minnesota, I don't know if it's ever true. I never followed through looking it up, but someone told me it was in Minnesota. I could have charged my ex-wife with pedophilia because she raped my daughter's mind. I thought, that's a good thought. So I looked into it, and it was Dean Tong. In fact, he referred me to a lawyer in Mass, and I attempted to have her either prosecuted or civilly criminal in court. And what I found out is in Massachusetts, if you do that, I could have pursued that, but it's automatically going to be an appeal. So my retainer would have been $30,000, and my ex-wife had all my money, so I wasn't going to be able to do that. It's I was doomed from the start, right, going into it, But just I wish I could. I would like to get it out there. You talked about the hope, Bill, and I call it the paradox of hope. It's hope you got, but do you want it? It's that struggle. And I had struggled with that for a long time. That paradox of hope. I want to hope something's going to be resolved, but I can't. I can't fall into it. And it stopped me from doing a lot of things. So it is what it is. I'm glad the hope is still there. And I see it with every time I see another parent reunited with their child. That hope is there, and I live on that. I thrive for people's success. So I can just see that it really does happen. And if I can be a part of it, it's that much better. I'm excited. I'm happy to be alive, even though many others have died trying to deal with this. I don't know. It's in the DSM-3. I know that. Marianne, in fact, got me the number. I don't have it with me, but it's an illness. Parental alienation. And I've just there's just too many people who have killed themselves, parents and children. And I just don't understand how this can be going on for so long. And it started back in the '60s with the free love, and then women's lib, and the politicians saw that divorce was going to become a big thing, and they made it into a business. It's pretty sad. And our children are the commodities. They're the ones paying the biggest price. I'm still going at it. I don't know what my daughter's even thinking. I don't know how she's. Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't even know if I have grandchildren. It's a tough life. It's hard to wake up and the first thing you're doing is grieving a child that's still alive. No easy trick. But it's people like you guys and the people I know that I've worked with over the years that have shown me that it's worth going on. Keep fighting, because there is hope, and it comes from the love that's shown from the people that I've worked with over the years. Bottom line is, love works. It definitely does. So I'll keep doing it. As long as it's working, I'll keep doing it. It seems to be God's plan for me. I don't know why He doesn't want me to be her dad or her to be my daughter, but he knows better than I do. So what am I going to? Why am I going to stop doing what I'm doing? What can man do to me? So that's where it's at for me. Hope.
There's a question from Derek Shields, asking where about in Minnesota.
Oh, it was the state of Minnesota. I heard. It was a state law. I have no idea, honestly. I don't remember who told me that. It was like 2016, I believe. It was a long time ago. I never did follow through on it, but because I went through my process, it really, I couldn't have done it even if it was possible because of the money. You know, it's always about the money. So,
Bill?
Yeah, no, it's again, you're right. The whole system is set up around creating a contract between the government and two parents where a child is dangled in between them for them to fight over and throw all their money at. And the courts, they take everything from you. They make you fight over your children. They make you pay to fight over your children, and then they dictate to you how you're going to see your children. And you have to pay for all of this. It's they're not doing anything in the best interest of the children. Best interest of the children, even in high conflict divorce, according to many professionals and most studies, is that even still having contact with both parents is the best plan for parenting and parenting time, because it is not as disruptive to the growth and development of the children.
Right.
The conflict does need to be minimized, which is once you're divorced, the children shouldn't see you guys fighting on a daily basis or parents fighting on a daily basis. So that's going to be part of the process to make it better and make sure the courts say you two do not need to communicate unless through an app or through emails. So the children don't have to be exposed to these communications and hostility.
Right.
Because it only takes one party to keep this going and prolong it. And that's what the courts fail to recognize. And Dr. Stephen Miller, I think it was 2014, he did a study for the state of Massachusetts. And he found that 95% of the time, lawyers and judges make the wrong decisions in high conflict divorce cases. And then they try to handle the divorces like they do a normal divorce, where people are amicable enough to come to an agreement on issues and resolve it without going to trial. And if you don't have two people that can resolve these issues without going to trial, then you have a high conflict divorce. And having them go to family therapies or any traditional sort of therapies is counterproductive, especially if the therapist does not recognize the situation as abuser and victim. And if they're still looking at it as two parties that they're trying to resolve conflict for, they're never going to resolve it, because, again, they're failing to recognize what the situation is. In situations of a high conflict divorce with one parent fighting the other for custody, you have an abuser and you have a victim. The courts fail to recognize that, and they usually align with the abuser and attack the victim of the abuse, according to Dr. Stephen Miller in 95% of those cases. These cases are counterintuitive, and they believe they're doing things right, but because they don't recognize what they're seeing, they make wrong decisions. And that's what needs to happen. There needs to be recognition of this pattern of alienation and the process of alienation. And without that, it's going to continue. This process will continue the same way it has for years, because that's what they do. And they don't know anything different.
That's why I'm really excited about this oversight committee here in New Hampshire. They're going to make sure that the family courts are. I saw something about adhering to due process, but I'm really not sure that's a good thing, because their due process is different from the judicial system due process. So I hope that there's a change. That's my hope. And if we can do something with this visitation enforcement, then I'll feel like I've accomplished something. And I'm working with a couple of men you probably know, Stephen Ball and Zach Hopper. And we're gonna be getting back to it in May, waiting for the get the awareness out there this month, and we're gonna be getting back to work on it in May, and hopefully, if we can get it done in one state, it can, spread like wildfire, like the marijuana bill. That's that's my hope. We'll be Colorado here in November. No problem. We got mountains, so that's my hope. If I can't have my daughter back, at least I can make sure the next generation doesn't have to deal with it. And I said that back in 2004 when I moved out of Massachusetts to actually move to Illinois to get away from life because my daughter wouldn't want to see me anymore and my mom died. So, and I was up there for 2 years. It was miserable. I had to be near her. So I came back here because she was living in the next town over and just hope, and it's been a struggle the whole way, but that hope and that love keep coming back and hit me in the face, and I absolutely love what I'm doing now. Despite the physical handicaps and the lost life that was there, I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I know that I have a purpose, and God gave me that entirely. So I'm just going to keep following what He's telling me to do. And my hope is that this gets out and enough people see it. That how many? I mean, there's half a million children in foster care. That means there's 1 million unfit parents, 2 million unfit grandparents, and endless unfit siblings and aunts and uncles, family members. It's all about the money, all you gotta do is just follow the money. You'll see. And it's so plain, and I'm really very angry that the rest of the world doesn't see it because everybody knows someone who's lost a child to alienation. So we got to get together and do something about this, So my hope is everybody go to your courthouses, your state capitals, and and let them know that this is wrong. It's just wrong. So I love listening to Mark Ludwig talk about Title IV. He's the ultimate expert on it, and there are some really really amazing people out there, and I'm really glad that I've connected with some of the best for sure, yourselves included. I'm sorry if we upset Bill. I don't know you took off, but
Yeah, we lost Bill, but he's gonna come back. Yeah.
okay. So
There's a question from, I believe, Marianne. Marianne is asking what would happen if there were no government incentives. Would that decrease the litigation?
not the way it's set up now. Unfortunately, foster care would still be there. I don't know. That's a good question. If government centers, what does she mean by government centers? As far as visitation centers, or I'm not sure exactly what she's asking.
Just different
Well, I mean,
incentives for the
go ahead.
government.
Yeah, go ahead,
I'm sorry?
Chelsea.
Just different incentives for the government right now.
Incentive. Oh, yeah. It would definitely be different. People. I mean, for what? How many years? Were we doing fine until divorce started picking up? The family worked great. There were dysfunctional families. Mine being one of them. There was abuse, and all kinds of different problems. But we all grew up, and everyone functioned okay. I mean, when did school shootings start? When divorce rates went up. All these mass attacks. All of them, almost all of them are come from a fatherless home. It's sad. It's really sad watching what's happening to our children now as opposed to what we grew up with. You know, not that you guys are as old as I am, but you know,
So, TJ, you were talking about getting some traction on getting a committee or something together there that would enforce parenting time or custody or sorry, access for the non-custodial parent. Could you talk more about that? Because it'd be really interesting to know how you're getting that traction.
well, Stephen had been working on something, I guess, prior to what I gave to him. I had talked to a couple of our state representatives and senators here in New Hampshire, and they agreed to meet with me to discuss some type of. They knew what I was talking about, but they didn't. I don't think they actually understood that it could be done. And it's like I said, it's all about the money. Obviously, if you can't beat them, you gotta I guess join them and try to make it work for everybody. And I mean, can you deny that if non-custodial parents were anything more than a bank account, these children would grow up a lot better? I mean, if they had access to both children, to both parents, you know, the world's going to be a better place. You know, for the children and the families. You know, the parents aren't going to fight as much if they're both getting what they want. You know, even though dad might be so angry at mom, he doesn't want her to be a part of the kid's life. As long as you love your children more than you hate your ex, it's going to be okay. You know, and I don't think parents know that anymore. I know my ex-wife didn't understand that when when my divorce became final. Walking out of the courtroom, I got in my car and I saw my ex-wife walking out, and I called her over and I said, "Listen, whatever you do, don't use Amanda to get back at me." And she said, if I wanted to get back at you, I could know some guys who would take care of you. Okay. Truth is, I would rather she had killed me back than put my daughter through what she did. You know, of course, then my daughter wouldn't have had any parents, but I don't know. It's just disgusting. You know, when I ended the marriage, my ex-wife moved back into her parents' house. They live right next door to my sister. And to this day, no one in my side of the family has had any contact with her, except when my mother died. Um, my mother was dying. I was in the hospital. It was after the last visit to the courts. And my sister grabbed my phone out of my hand and called my ex-wife's house and put my daughter on the phone so she could talk to her grandmother for the last time. And all she said was, "Thank you for being my grandmother." And all my mother said was, "I love you." You know, at that point, I just left the room, and I was bawling my eyes. It was a bad time. But I mean, that was a rewarding thing. That was beautiful that she did that. But oh, I'm sorry. It's difficult. I'm talking about a lot of stuff tonight. I haven't talked about in a long time, and my emotions are a little bit overwhelming at this particular point. I apologize for that, but I'm sorry. I've lost my train of thought. I apologize.
TJ, there's no reason to apologize. What you're experiencing is entirely normal, and you know you've gone back to places that you've probably left behind and closed the door on. So don't apologize. This is what really happens to targeted parents, and it's actually what happens to the alienated child too. And our emotions on the trauma level, our memories are tied to emotion. So we don't just think about the memory; we actually relive it. So what happens is a lot of targeted parents will start to cry. Maybe they'll even get angry. Maybe there'll be a whole mixture of emotions, and people who are uneducated, like judges sometimes or lawyers sometimes, they start saying, or even mental health practitioners sometimes who don't know about trauma or complex trauma, they start looking at that parent going, what's wrong with them? And it's just an entire trauma response. And instead of having empathy, the alienating parents take that as, well, I can just turn this into something and triangulate people against this person, and nobody recognizes the need to have some empathy and just help people get through that little period of time. Because also what's true is all those good memories that you have with your children, with your parents, those also bring back the happy memories, the smiles, the emotions that are tied to that. And that's why memory and pictures and emotions are so important in alienated cases. And also dreaming about what do you want for your future, because the future's not written yet. We can make it what we want to be, but I see a lot of targeted parents who have come up with a lot of different emotions, and it's tough. So thank you for sharing with us tonight. So because
Absolutely. I hope somebody gets something out of what I said.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I just if I can help people, then I'm doing everything I need to be doing. Jesus said, "Love one another as I have loved you," and I'll never be that good at it, but if I can, I'll keep trying.
Yeah.
you're doing great.
Our time is fast spent, but just want to make a comment. So on 25th as well, here in Brampton, Ontario, I'll be raising the parental alienation flag. I'll be there to support Chef Nizar. Actually, they've asked me to come and pray, so I'm happy to do that, and also to somehow talk about parental alienation. And so, if you happen to be in the Greater Toronto area, I invite you to come to the Brampton City Hall. This is being done in the City of Brampton City Hall. The mayor is Mayor Patrick Brown, fully supportive of all these initiatives that are ongoing to make sure that children are not deprived of their biological parents. So if you happen to be in the Greater Toronto area, by all means, join us. I will try and broadcast live. Again, I'm not sure if my equipment will support that, but at least I'm gonna try. If it works, great. We'll have it live. But thank you so much, TJ. I really appreciate that, and I just thank God for your life and the strength. I mean, it is God that has given me that strength to endure what is going on, so you can share your story for people like Kelsey and I, and be able to learn from you, and also to sort of encourage us, to keep pushing, to keep raising the kind of awareness that we are doing right now to bring about change more so for our children and also for the next generation as well. Kids don't deserve to go through this. It is, it is hard. Like my emotions is just all over the place. But to hear your experiences is just as painful as what Kelsey and I have been through. Of course, Bill has been through it as well. I truly appreciate your strength, your courage, and also your passion to bring about change. God bless you for that.
Thank you.
Kelsey, any final thoughts?
I just really want to thank TJ for being here. It's not easy to go back and think about some of these things, but I know that you're helping a lot of people, and I'm sure that there are some people that are still here because of the help that you've given them. So thank you for doing everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Bill. It's I used to end my TV show by I had my punchline at the end. It was
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Feel free and just go ahead.
Oh,
Is there anything to say?
Yeah,
Just go ahead. Yeah.
it's just gonna take a couple seconds. I used to end my show saying, "Love is just a word until you give it meaning," and I'm changing that now because I'm finding out that when all else fails, love works, and I'm going with that. So God bless you, gentlemen, and I look forward to carrying on the fight with you guys and all the others who are fighting to make our children's lives a better place to be. So.
Thank you so much, and to our audience, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Marianne and Derek, I know you've been very active, giving comments here and there. Thank you for your contributions as well. And we always here. If you wish to come on the show, Marianne and Derek and anybody else watching, by all means, just connect with me or Kelsey or Bill, and we'll have you scheduled for that. Thank you so much. God bless you, and have a blessed night and a blessed coming week.